Alright, hello everybody. Today I'll be going over how to create a good menu manager system in Godot. This will include a menu stack so that, let's say, I have a pause menu. On top I could put an options menu, and then on top of that there could be like a control remap menu on top of that. And then you can go back through the menus as you came through them. Everything like that. I'll also go over some theming in this video as well. But without further ado, I'm just going to get straight to it. I hope my keyboard isn't too loud this time. I've noticed it has been in the past. I don't really know how to... I don't really know too much I can do to really help fix that. I am going to be using Godot 4.4.1, but it really shouldn't matter that much. I'm just going to call this one menu video. Alright. First I'm just going to create a new folder for everything I'm going to do in my video. You probably want to put this within your own project structure and everything. So create a new folder for scripts and another folder for scenes. I'm just going to create a new scene, and I'm just going to make it a panel container base. I'm just going to call this UI testing. For the panel container, make sure it's set to the full screen, and I'm going to run. It's going to select my current project, and here we are. Just make sure we're good. I'm going to add a center container and then a label. Just going to say test. And there we go. That is running well. So the first thing we're going to need is we're going to need an autoload script, and that is going to be our menu manager. So new autoloads folder, and I'm going to add a script. This script is just going to inherit a node. I'm just going to call it my menu. I'll call my menu stack manager. And I actually will not need to be setting a class on this one. Going ahead and delete the process function, and I will just keep the ready function for now. Then in our project settings, I'm going to go ahead and go over to the globals tab over here. And I'm going to go to my scripts, looks like I saved it in the wrong directory, scenes autoload menu stack manager. You go ahead and add that into my globals. And I'll make sure that it has the global variable enabled. And go ahead and put these into the right folders really quick. Sorry, normally I color code them, it makes it a little bit easier for me, so I'm just going to do that really quick. So our menu stack manager is first and foremost going to need a variable. I'm just going to call it the menu stack, and this is going to be an array of control nodes. I'm going to create another variable, and I'm just going to call this my menu canvas layer. This is going to be a canvas layer. So let's start by initializing our menu canvas layer. So I'm actually going to make this an onReady variable. It's just going to do a step for me. I'm going to make this equal to canvas layer.new. And in ready, I'm just going to create a new function. Just call it setup pass. And on ready, I'm just going to make sure that we set up everything. So, menu canvas layer, I'm going to add a child to myself. So, to go add child, I'm going to call this defer so we don't get any issues. And I'm going to add the menu canvas layer. The other thing I want to do is I want to go to the menu canvas layer, and you might, I don't really need to set it, but you might want to add a custom layer for all your menus. So I'm just going to add that as a constant variable at the top. Menu layer, I'm just going to set it equal to 10, let's just say. So now if we play, we did not get any errors, and that is good. So our menu canvas is where we're going to be pushing all of our menus onto, right? So after we've got that set up, create a new function, call this push menu. Just going to void that out, pass. And our other one is going to be pop menu. Void it out and pass. So push menu is going to need to take in the menu that we want to push onto the stack. And I'm just going to pop that in as a control. And if we go back to, oh man, I got rid of my paid example. But when you're pushing a menu, that's the menu. Let's say you're in the main menu, then you click the options button. You're pushing the options menu on top of the main menu. Then when you hit the back button, you're popping the menu away, and you're just going back to the main menu. So that's essentially what these two functions are meaning. Let me go ahead and zoom in for you guys, make it a little bit easier to see. So when we push a menu, I'm going to add it to the menu stack. So I'm going to go menu stack, and I'm going to push to the front, and I'm just going to add the menu. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add it as a child to the menu canvas layer. So I'm going to go menu canvas layer dot add child. I'm going to call this deferred, and I'm going to add our menu, just like so. And then on our pop menu, we can go menu stack dot pop front. That's going to be our var menu to pop. This can be a control. So when you pop the front, what it does is it returns, or it'll remove the first element of the array, and it'll also give us the variable, the value, and we can store that into a variable. And then just menu to pop, I'm going to hide it. Then I'm going to key free on that as well. And we're only going to do this if this is valid. So if is instance valid, our menu to pop, then we're going to do these things. Great. So far, so good. So now in our UI testing, I'm going to create a new test script. Oh, also, I named this one with the wrong case. Let me change that. Menu stack manager. Actually. Okay. Back in UI testing, I'm just going to create a new script. Just call this menu stack testing. Create a new export file. I'm just going to call this initial menu. It's going to be a control, and so, and then on ready, I'm going to get to our menu manager, and I'm going to push a menu. The menu is going to be our initial menu. So for our initial menu, I'm just going to create a new panel container. Just going to call this bad boy our initial menu. And on here, I'm going to add a label. Say initial menu. I'm going to add this in a V box while I'm at it. And we're going to add a button behind it. I'm going to say options. Let's just say, go ahead and center this screen, and go ahead and delete the other testing crap here. So now, if I go ahead and were to hide the initial menu, and I were to play, nothing's happening. It's because we never set our initial menu here. So set the initial menu is there, and now nothing is still happening. And that is because in our menu stack manager, when I push a menu, I need to make sure that I show the menu by doing menu.show. And now we have our initial menu showing after the game, which is good. So the next thing I want to do is add an options menu. So I'm just going to add another panel. I can really just duplicate everything I had to do for the initial menu. I'm just going to call it my options menu. And this is going to need some work as well. So back on our initial menu, I'm just going to change the name to main menu, just for easy use. And then in our options menu, I'm going to change the label to say options menu. And then the button, I will have a back button. And then I will also add a second button that will be a button remapping, let's just say. If I were to go ahead and show, that's what the options menu looks like currently. I'll get into some theming later to kind of explain that as well. So I have these two menus. In our initial menu, I'm gonna just add a new script. Just gonna call it main menu. On here, I'm just gonna grab a reference to our button by making giving it a unique name. And if you control, click, and drag on it, you can pop it into our scene. I'm just gonna call it the options button, and I'm gonna name it the options button. I'm gonna need to re-control, drag that in, and just make sure you're gonna name it right. All right. So now, on ready, I'm just gonna get my options button dot pressed, and I'm going to connect it to a function. And what I'm gonna do is just connect it to my menu stack manager. I'm going to push menu, and I'm going to bind that to, and I want to push my options menu. I don't have a reference to that yet, so I'm just gonna access that as a unique name as well. Pop it in here. If this was a real game, you would probably be loading in the scenes and then passing that in, which is pretty easy to do as well. I'll probably show that after I have just the main functionality going. I can give you some more examples. But just back, I'm gonna bind the options menu to that. So now, if I'm in my initial menu and I press options, we go ahead and we have our options menu here. Now you may notice you can actually still see the main menu in the back. So what I'm going to do is go back to the menu stack manager, and when we push new menu, I'm gonna see if we have a previous menu, and if we do, I am going to hide it. So create a new variable, call it previous menu. It's going to be control, and that is going to be equal to our menu stack dot front, the first item in our stack. Okay, and then if the previous menu even exists, so is instance valid our previous menu. We need our previous menu, and we're going to edit. Now if we go back into here, if you go to the options menu, you can no longer see the main menu in the back, but our options menu, the back button does not work and the button remapping does not work. So I'm going to go into our options menu, and I'm going to create a script for that. You can call it my options menu, I guess. In here, I'm going to our mapping menu button. I'm going to rename these buttons while I'm here. I'm going to have a back button. Now, as far as our back button goes, we can actually create a script just for our back button. So I'm going to save this into my scripts. I'm just going to call this my pop menu button, because this will have the same code every single time. So I'm going to call it class name pop menu button, and then whenever we press this button, we are just going to get our menu stack, and we're going to pop our menu. So now, if I go to the options menu, I can hit back, and it does pop our current menu, but I never set it up that we would show our previous menu, which is what I need to do next. So after we pop our front menu, and now I'm in my menu stack manager, then I'm going to go ahead and try and show the previous menu. So I'm going to go, their previous menu is going to be a control, and it will be our menu stack, and it will be the new front. So grab the front, and then our menu, I'm just going to do previous menu dot show. And now, if I go to options, I can go back. And it does not let me go back to options. That is interesting. I see. It's because I am freeing the menu. So I'm gonna add a new parameter to the pop menu. I'm just gonna say free menu. If we want to free the menu, we can. I feel like sometimes I would want to, sometimes I wouldn't. I'm just gonna default it to false. Just say if we want to free the menu, free it. If not, don't. So now I can go forward and back from our main menu to our options menu, which is exactly what we want. The next thing we would want to look at would be going from our options menu to a button remapping menu. So I'm just gonna add one more panel container with another VBox. I am gonna keep the back button. I'm just gonna rename this to our button mapping menu. I'm just gonna get rid of this button. Let's call this my button mapping menu. Okay, so back in our options menu script, which I never put anything in, I'm gonna go ahead and grab a reference to our button mapping menu. And then I'm also gonna grab a reference to our remapping menu button, drag that in, and then on ready, our remapping menu button dot, whenever we press it, so dot pressed, I'm going to connect pushing the menu. So I'm going to go menu stack manager dot push menu, and I'm going to bind the parameter of our remap button mapping menu. You can delete all this useless crap. And now I forgot to hide the button mapping menu. Now we're on our main menu. We can go to our options menu, go to our button remapping menu. We can go back, and it'll go back to the correct amount, which is perfect. So that is the most basic setup. So what I'm going to do next is show you how you would do this if these were all in different scenes. So I'm going to save all of these as different scenes. Save branches scene. I'm just going to go into my video scenes. Just call this my main menu scene. Options menu, I'm going to save this as a different scene too. And call this my options menu. And then my button mapping menu, I'm going to save this as a different scene as well. Button mapping menu. So at this point, I think everything does not work anymore. That is because all of these parameters that I had on here are not going to work anymore. Oh, they still work. Look at that. So I saved all of these as like built-in scripts, which is no longer viable. So I'm going to save these as just normal scripts. Let's call this main menu script. Then our menu stack test. Let's call this UI testing script, or scene script. Let me grab that out of the scenes folder. And with our options menu, I'm going to save that as a script as well. So now these are all saved as their own scripts. In the options menu, I will no longer have the remapping menu as a variable like this. Instead, I'm going to store reference to the scene. So I'm going to do a const button mapping menu scene, and that is going to be equal to preload. And I'm going to go ahead and preload the file. How I'm going to do that? So I'm just going to go to the button mapping menu right here. I'm going to copy the universal ID, copy UID right here, and if I paste that in, it's going to preload the scene now, which is great. So instead of pushing the button mapping menu scene, button mapping menu, I can push the button mapping menu scene dot instantiate. And now, if I go to here, it still works. It's kind of jank now because the scene isn't set up correctly. If I go to the button mapping menu scene, I can delete this one. If I just go straight into the scene, I should go ahead and make sure this is set to full right here. Now we're able to load the scene. One thing you may know is that we're actually instantiating a new menu every single time we do this. I'm also getting an error really quick. I don't know where that's going from. So instead of instantiating a new scene every time, what I can do is on ready, I can store the value of our button mapping menu. Just going to call it control. Just say, hey, every time we create the options menu, just preload in the button mapping menu while you're at it. So I'm going to say button mapping menu is equal to button mapping menu scene dot instantiate. And then every time that we push this menu, we're just going to make sure that we're pushing the exact same button menu. We're not creating a ton of them. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with the options menu now. Or with the main menu now. So back in our main menu script, instead of storing a reference to our option menu, I'm going to go ahead and create a const options menu scene and make this equal to the preload of options menu scene. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the UID for that one as well, paste it in here, and then on ready, I'm going to store a value of our options menu. Options menu, say control, and then options menu is equal to options menu scene dot instantiate. Whoops. I hit one of those stupid Windows shortcuts that ruins everything for you. Okay. So this is good. We got our options menu going. At this point, I should be able to go back to the UI testing, delete the options menu, and everything should still work. So I can go to the options. Ooh, did not work. Cannot call method show on a null value. So that's a good thing we should check for. When we try to push new menu, if the new menu is not valid, we should not show it. So if not is instance valid of the menu, we're just going to return. We're not even going to try to show anything. We should also probably print an error message. Just going to say print error, or what is it? Error, push error. That's what it's called. I'm just going to say try to push invalid menu. Now we do this, we actually get a little error in the debugger that says try to push invalid menu. Great. And it's back in our initial menu. Let's see. Did I not? I saved my scripts weird is the issue, I think, here. Just gonna make sure that the script is set right. Actually should be able to do that. Okay. Now let's try it. Now we have our options menu, and this one's jank just like the other one was. We can still go through all of our menus. Let me go into the options menu scene and make sure that, there we go. So in our main menu, go to our options, button remapping, back, and we got all of this. Our whole menu push system down, which is good. So next thing to do would probably be to set up the initial menu to be loaded from scene as well. So let's do that really quick as well. Just const main menu scene. Let's do preload, and let's go to the main menu, copy UID, paste that in. Just go over main menu, so we can cache the value of our instantiate scene. Just gonna say, and copy that to the push menu. Just say main menu is equal to our main menu scene dot instantiate. And now the main menu is changed too, because I never changed this one either. Let's show that. Okay. Now we load in. We push all these menus, which is great. And it's all loaded from a scene that loads a scene, that loads another scene, that loads another scene.